Every rose has its thorn.
Yeah, pretty much, man. There's a Jack for every Jill. You'll be just fine.
Oh, man. All right. Well, it sounds like we found our intro. Hit that music, Greg.
Oh, no way. Oh, my God. No way. Oh, my God.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 154 of 1 million of the Serial Chillers podcast. As always, I ask, how goes it? Hella, Greg.
Cool, man.
Cool, man?
Yeah. Well, I was trying to time it
man.
right. I was trying to time it right because I said that right at 4:20.
Oh, I like that. I like that. It won't be for you guys out there, but just know for us, it was.
Maybe it will. Maybe it'll be the longest intro of all time. Who knows?
The intro of just me being like, yep, I guess we found our intro. Hit the music, Greg. We're here with a couple guests. I'll get to them in just a second. For all of you out there, I'm going to start with it at the top and beat Greg to it. Check out lonelyfanswith2z's.com. Check out our Instagram and TikTok, the YouTube, the Threadless store, the Discord. You can find it all. SerialChillersPod.com. I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. If you're listening to this now, it's the future from where we're listening to it now. But we don't have the P.O. box anymore. We had it for a while, and it didn't really get utilized, and they aren't free. So we don't have P.O. box. Let us know if you want to send us something. Let us know. We'll give you a place where you can send it. But
So
that thing doesn't exist.
To check it anymore.
What do you mean anymore? You have to check it once to be able to say anymore.
It's been on. First of all, I went with you once, and second, it's been on my list of things to do.
I moved 7 months ago. Okay, so the Wikipedia. The Wikipedia citations and references. You guys know Wikipedia is in it. Murderpedia, grunge.com, thoughtcode.com, and an A&E investigative reports documentary, which it was that like classic like late 90s, early 2000s A&E documentary guy who just sounds like this forever. It's like that old white guy, and I can't remember his name.
Trying to capitalize on the success of Unsolved Mysteries.
Nobody can be Robert Stack, god damn it.
His name's Bobby Pyle.
Oh, okay. Well, we've got two guests joining us here today for the very first time, and we're happy to have them. That's right. I said it. Two guests, very first time. Everybody, welcome Zelda Blackheart.
Hello.
Good to have you here. And D.
What's up?
Hello. I love the energy. You guys are bringing that shit. You're making me feel like I've got to match it. And I was just hoping to be fucking lazy today. All right. Most of you know how the show works. Let me explain it for anybody that doesn't. Each week, I sit down with old friends, new friends, good friends, and bad friends to tell the story of an infamous serial killer, something true crime, dark, creepy, unsolved, or otherwise mysterious. If something isn't clear, be sure to chime in, because if you have questions about questions, be sure to ask questions, because I can't answer questions about questions if you never ask questions. Are there any questions?
Nope.
Then
I had
welcome
my eyes closed
to...
and was vibing to that. But were
Hey.
you guys doing the head bob too?
Yes.
If you had your eyes open, you would have seen that I never even looked at the screen. I stared into your soul.
Nah.
Okay. Then welcome to and let's play the Serial Chillers podcast.
Definitely didn't forget I had to do something right there. I've got 3 buttons to push this entire fucking show.
Watching you panic was gold just then. It was way better than having it on time. Okay. Well, today's episode, tell me, have you guys heard of? It is one of our original 15 episodes that were deleted from the beginning. So this is something you may have heard. Tell me, have you heard of Herbert Baumeister?
I definitely listened to the episode, but I don't remember anything.
But alas, it no longer exists.
Herbie Baumeister.
Yeah, old Herbie. Okay, so let's do really quickly. Greg, I'll let you run in odds and evens in case you guys, I don't think, have heard an episode yet where we've stopped doing writing down the answers because we're not in studio. It gets a little tough, the cameras. So what we do is odds and evens. Greg will do an odds and evens. He'll pick one of you at random to pick it. And basically, once you've chosen it, you'll get to pick whether you want the odd or even questions, and you'll answer first on the ones you select. So there's a little bit of strategy that goes into it sometimes, being the one that selects first versus being the one that selects last. I will give that person the advantage and tell you that there are going to be 13 questions. 13. Do you have one to add, Greg? Okay, nope. So 13. So if you want to be the last one to answer on the last question, you'd want to take the evens. So take it away, Greg.
Okay, so I'm holding up some fingers. Who was the first one in the room today?
Yep.
Zelda.
All right, Zelda, you're up. Odds or evens?
Odds.
It is evens. D, it is your choice. Okay. You want to go first or do you want to defer?
3 is my favorite number, so I'm going to go first.
All right, take the odds. Very cool.
All right. Well, so we have Herbert Baumeister. As you guys know, I can tell you guys are listeners of the show. I appreciate that, by the way. Question number 1. This is for you guys.
Get that tea with honey and lemon.
That actually is no lemon, but is tea and honey. In what year was Herbert Baumeister born? In what year was Herbert Baumeister born? Closest to the answer gets 250 points. If you nail it, you get 1,000 as usual. D will be first to answer. In what year was Herbert Baumeister born?
1934.
1942.
1942. Zelda is going to get 250 points because Herbert Baumeister was born in Indianapolis, Indiana on April 7th, 1947.
Oh.
Guys, I
So
wrote
pretty
down
close.
1943, and then I crossed it out and switched the 3 and the 4.
We tell people this all the time, every episode. You got to go with your gut. It's going to scream at you. It's going to scream an answer, and your brain's going to be like, nah, there's no way. Go with your gut.
I'm honestly shocked that of all the sayings we've like put on t-shirts and stickers and, like our Discord bot is called a bot with
ghosts in your blood.
Ghosts in its blood. Yeah, like we our things make it out there. I'm surprised that go with your gut has not ended with just your face or something has not ended up on something.
Yeah.
We'll just add that to the stack of Hella Greg merchandise.
Go with your gut.
So
my face.
Oh, such a good impression of your own face. I don't know.
I do a good Greg impression.
So Herbert Baumeister, born 1947, Indianapolis, Indiana. He's the eldest of 4 siblings. His father, Dr. Herbert Eugene Baumeister, was an anesthesiologist, and his mother was Elizabeth Baumeister Nee Schmidt. So it's a lot of names. I couldn't figure out exactly why she had, like 18 names, but I didn't really dig that deep. I'll be honest with you. So while his childhood seemed fairly ordinary, Herb's behavior took a dark turn during adolescence. Friends would later recall his fascination with urophilia, as he would often contemplate the taste of human urine. It was like something he thought about aloud to his friends. Often. What would human piss taste like in my mouth? If it was just in my mouth, what would it be like?
And it makes you weird to do that.
What do you guys think? What do you guys think? What do you guys think it tastes like? You guys ever try it? So apparently he was.
You're asking. I was like, is this question number 2?
He was quite obsessive over it. I will tell you, I kind of loaded this one with questions. The episode will be on the shorter side. Here's the thing with serial killers, guys. Not all of them went on these insane rampant streaks and have Jeffrey Dahmer information available about them. Damn it, I wish they did. That would make my job easier. But here we are, Herbert Baumeister. Why couldn't you have been? No, I'm just kidding. You should have been less prolific, fucker. You know my rule. If you're going to go out and kill some people, first kill yourself.
Okay, so I figured out what the knee means in the name.
Oh, perfect. Clearly I didn't dig that much.
It means formerly, like the former surname. So like
Oh.
so the Schmidt was her surname, and then she married
And
and
then,
became Baumeister.
that's
So
interesting.
her
I have
name's
never seen that in my life.
Baumeister Nie Schmidt means Baumeister, like formerly Schmidt.
Dang, does she carry like the Prince guitar and shit, or
It's just a symbol
she's the wife formerly
She's-
known as
as Schmidt.
Schmidt?
Yeah.
Okay. So urophilia, gross kid, dude. This guy is thinking about piss as a kid. I mean, like, yeah, like I was a young boy and I had some curiosities about weird shit growing up and starting fires, but I was never like, I wonder what piss tastes like, and wondering it aloud to my friends along the way. Sometimes obsessing it over aloud to people close to him. Additionally, he had disturbing penchant for playing with dead animals, going as far as to bringing one to school in his bag one day and leaving it in his teacher's desk. Question number 2. What animal did Herb leave in his teacher's desk? Was it A, a raccoon, B, a crow, C, a cat, or D, a squirrel? Zelda, this one's yours. Raccoon, crow, cat, or squirrel?
I want to say a crow.
Okay. And D, of course, you can answer the same if you feel like that's the answer, that you're just second to answer is all.
I'm gonna go with a cat. Sounds like a sick
She's-
fuck.
Yeah, you're not wrong about the sick fuck thing, but you are wrong about the question. 250 points for Zelda.
Oh.
It was a crow. It was
I was
a crow.
gonna guess squirrel.
Yeah. Just squirrel's kind of easy to get your hands on. That's why I put it in there.
Well,
you know?
they're plentiful, but they're hard. They're hard to get your hands on, but they're plentiful.
Well, a dead one ain't. You just drive by the road for a while, you find one. They're there. They're there.
See, I was
sadly.
assuming he made the animal dead.
That's true.
Like
He may
he
have
got
done
it. He got it in the live position.
From what I understand, his obsession was more with dead animals, not making dead animals. So I don't know that he was creating them as much as he was a scavenger. He's a scavenger. I think he just found them and was like, "Oh, neat! I'm a gross kid. This is perfect." And
there, buddy.
Yeah, right. So it was also rumored that he urinated on his teacher's desk.
Sick power move.
Concerned about his son's actions, Herb's father took him for mental examinations where he was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia and antisocial personality disorder. So we're talking early, like 3rd, 4th, 5th grade here. He's being diagnosed with that's a pretty heavy diagnosis, paranoid schizophrenia with antisocial personality disorder.
Especially for like what, 1954? Like
yeah, you're not wrong. It would have been like the late 50s.
Well, because he's what, 7?
I think he's up between like 7 and 10. I don't have an exact year here. This is like his early.
He's in the mid 50s, which is that's a pretty progressive diagnosis for the 1950s.
Just gonna say,
of being like, have you tried shaking him and giving him whiskey? Like,
but I will say that a lot of what the documentary has to talk about is that at the time, Indianapolis really was like the most progressive spot in the Midwest you could be at like this like late 60s to early 80s place. I have no idea. I wasn't there. Clearly it's not true by the reactions I'm getting from some Midwesterners. So concerned with his son's actions, Herb's father took him out, got his diagnosis, paranoid schizophrenia, antisocial personality disorder. After this, he went through a rigorous routine of psychological treatments, the likes of which had never been seen. They wanted to make everything good for Herb and make sure that he was taken care of. No, that was a lie. After receiving that diagnosis, he did not receive any further psychiatric treatment as a child. His dad was like, "Okay, good to know. I'll take care of that."
Got it. So he's nuts.
What a fucking crazy thing. Like, why? Okay, he's so worried. He takes him in the first place. Like, yeah, paranoid, delusional, schizophrenic. And he's like, okay, cool. Bet.
Good to know. Bye.
Yeah. So you treat that with like ginger root, or is this a
No,
What
dude,
kind of
it's
situation we're
it's
talking
the
here?
50s. Get him a job at a coal mine. That's what, like, that's so wild that they took it. That this doesn't compute. They took him for psychiatric care in the 50s, which you don't do. You just wasn't done.
Right.
And then they took the they took the
They're still
psychiatric care.
lobotomizing motherfuckers.
Yeah, but they're like, no. This guy actually has some serious mental problems, and the dad was like, ha, right, and then just ignored it. Like,
It almost reads to me like a dad that wanted to take his son in and then be like, no, he's fine.
yeah,
And he could be like, see, he's fine. Now take the knee off your name and just go by Baumeister.
yeah. Or maybe that he had to take him. Like, she's like, I made an appointment. We have to take Herb to the brain doctor, and she's like, oh shit, I'm busy. You got to take him. And he's like, well, he doesn't need it. And they're like, too bad. So they took him and they gave him the heavy thing, and he was like, okay. What'd they
I mean,
say?
like-
Nothing.
Your mother's taking you for the rest of these.
Yeah.
The ironic thing is the dad is a doctor. He knows that
Oh,
the-
yeah.
once you
He's
get
an anesthesiologist.
okay.
Yeah.
Is that how he's gonna treat him? You
Yeah.
can't be
I'm
crazy. if you're
Just knock him
sweet.
out.
He spent a lot of time in medical school
I
to
mean-
just be like, yeah.
Cool. See ya.
Also, at the
Anyway,
same time, maybe
see
he
ya.
was like, schizophrenia. I don't really know what that is, and I'm not going to look into it any further.
Says
As
I'm
I feel
I'm
like
gonna use
I
the
will be
most-
afraid.
Said I'm going to use the most of my medical training every time Herb acts up. He's like, okay, just count backwards from 10.
Sticks a syringe in his neck. No
the mask
fair.
on
No
his-
fair. No fair. Okay, so yeah, sorry to dupe you guys. You guys thought Herb was gonna get taken care of. Due to his high school's emphasis on sports, yeah, this feels right. Like semi small town in the late 1950s, emphasis on sports. Yeah, due to his high school's emphasis on sports, Herb struggled to fit in and became isolated. He also refused to try, it seems, according to many others. A few people have claimed that no one actively pushed away Herb in high school, but he did often do everything he could to alienate himself.
He just fucking Naruto ran through the hallways in high school, and they're like,
But
dude,
you know
we
what?
don't-
I liked the guys who Naruto ran. All of them were fun, dude.
Nah, dude, because they would bump into you and knock your shit out of your hands, make you spill your slushy or whatever, and then hiss at you like a cat and then keep running.
You got bullied by the Naruto kids?
I got bullied by fucking everybody. You were there. You know this.
I didn't even protect him.
You bullied me.
He
It's
was
alright.
the Naruto runner.
Yeah. Hell
You
yeah.
couldn't see because he was so fast.
Right. I could, and bulletproof.
You know, I was a bigger fan of the Ninja Turtles who also ran like that. So every time my kids do it, they do Ninja Turtles, and we'll be at the park, and some other kid will be like, "You know Naruto?" Just by watching my kids run, they're like, "No." I'm like, "Yeah, tell them about the Ninja Turtles." So he pushes himself away from other people, and then was like, "I don't know why I wasn't. It's because of sports that I wasn't popular." So he would spend countless hours alone, and according to Herb, he refrained from dating. Oh yeah? Did you refrain from it, Herb? Were
Wasn't
you
it
like,
by
yeah,
choice?"
dating? That's just not for me. Yeah, I'm just having to beat him off with the stick.
Herbert Baumeister, the first incel.
I was gonna say I refrain from doing ecstasy, but that's just a lack of availability to ecstasy.
Yeah.
Like-
Also, to me, Herb seems like a dude who might have been like the stinky guy in high school.
What?
So it's like even the people who did like him were like, yeah, you like him. I can't hang out with him though. It's like fucking throwing a bag of onions over your shoulders, hanging out with that guy.
Oh God.
So he gets through high school. He makes it through despite the emphasis on sports and him not having friends and his refraining from dating during those amazing 4 years of his life. In 1965, Herb enrolls to college. Question number 3. To what college did Herb enroll? Was it A, Indiana University, B, Ball State, C, Indiana State, or D, Notre Dame? I believe this is D's. So
Yes.
Indiana University, Ball State, Indiana State, or Notre Dame.
Gosh. Notre Dame.
That's a gold domer.
I want to say A.
Indiana University. Herb enrolled in 1965 to college at Indiana University for a semester before deciding to leave. That's 250 more points for Zelda.
Wow, you're killing it.
I'm not even trying.
What's the score right now?
0 to
It
750.
is 0 to 750, yes.
Woo.
I was like, come on, Excel, update. Realizing that I could have just done 250 times 3 in my head, but
Oh, you got
I've
your own
become so
scoreboard.
reliant. Dang. Okay.
I'm keeping
D's
notes.
locked in.
I like it.
Would you like to work as an intern or
Somebody last week was like, I'm gonna take notes, and we were like, you don't need to. It's not gonna help. Especially because it was one of my episodes. And I was like, bro, my notes don't even help me. Like
The Anunnaki one?
it might have been. Was that the
no,
one
well,
with
that was the
Nero
one
and
that
Bobby?
aired last week. The one we recorded, or are you talking about that?
It might have been that.
Oh,
'cause
okay,
it was
yeah.
Nero talking about needing the notes, I think.
The reason that sometimes Greg and I seem very oblivious to the episodes that are coming out is because they're like 2 months old for us by the time you guys hear them. So, and we've recorded 7 in the meantime. So it's like when they come out, if I don't go back and I don't know if you guys saw in the Discord, someone was like, do you guys even listen to the show? I was like, I fucking have to, because you fuckers always come with like some inside joke from the episode that I don't remember at all. And then so I got to go listen for it or text Greg and be like, what are they talking about? And then he edited. And even then, sometimes he'll be like, I don't remember. And so we're both like, you guys are in on the joke that we're not, that we made.
Well, it's a lot of times the stuff that like everybody else finds funny isn't the stuff that I find funny, or the stuff that I find funny. I'll text Jesse and I'm like, yo, dude, this shit was hilarious. And I'll send it to him just to send him a clip or whatever. And then nobody says anything about it in like when they're talking about it, but then they'll talk about something else that they found super funny. And I'm like, really? I don't even like, is that even in this episode?
And then sometimes Greg will send me this thing and he'll be like, dude, look at this. And I'll watch it clip and I'm like, that's hilarious. Like, I know, I cut it out. All right, that's actually probably fair. That's probably fair.
That's a good idea. I'm glad you cut that out.
So 1965, Baumeister, college, Indiana University. 1 semester, made it first semester. He made a comeback in 1967 and spent a semester at Butler University, but also bounced out after less than 1 semester. So tired of his son's bullshit, his dad stuck his neck out for him and landed Herb a motherfucking job. Like I said, we got some questions here, guys.
Coal mine.
Question number 4. The job was at a newspaper as a copy boy. What newspaper? Was it A, the News Examiner, B, the News Sentinel, C, the News Sun, or D, the Indianapolis Star? Sorry, so that's News Examiner, News Sentinel, News Sun, and Indianapolis Star.
Or Daily Mail.
And listen, all of these that I went and looked up like Indiana newspapers and Indiana this or that. So they're all real, and newspaper names are terrible. Okay, so this one's Zelda's News Examiner, News Sentinel, News Sun, or the Indianapolis Star.
I want to say the Star.
The Star.
It's the same one I wrote down. So
The Star.
Okay.
Good.
Indy Star.
Go with your
Yeah.
gut.
All right. The Indy Star, I kind of threw it out there thinking, he surely wouldn't put one that doesn't have the name news in it as the correct answer, but it was indeed the correct answer. Congratulations. That's 250 points to both of you. D, you're on the board. Zelda still on the hot streak, 4 questions in a row. Don't worry, guys. We got a 5th question coming up pretty quick here. Herb's father secured his first job for him at the Indianapolis Star, where he began as a copy boy in an entry-level position. Once again, he faced rejection and didn't receive the recognition that he craved at this job. Consequently, he left his position and swiftly found employment at the Bureau of Motor Vehicles. This suits him well, I feel like. His personality, his looks, like he seems like a I mean, I say DMV, but they call it the BMV there. So a BMV kind of guy. Unfortunately, he developed a reputation for being domineering towards his colleagues and would unleash his anger on them without any provocation. Despite his problematic behavior, he managed to complete his tasks and eventually earned a promotion to program director. Question number 5. While the program director, Herb got into a little trouble with urine yet again, urinating on a letter at work. To whom was the letter addressed? Was it A, the mayor of Indianapolis, B, the governor of Indiana, C, his congressman, or D, the president of the United States? Was it the mayor, the governor, a congressman, or the president? This one is D's, and take your time.
What a
Peed on a
solid
letter
dude.
intended for one of these politicians: mayor, governor, congressman, or POTUS.
All right. I'm gonna say the mayor.
The mayor.
Congressman.
Congressman. The streak has been broken. Combo breaker. His employment was short-lived at the BMV as it came to light that he had urinated on a letter intended for the Indiana governor. What a fucking weird power move. That, like, how like canine is that? Like, yeah,
I mean,
I'm just gonna
how do you
piss on this letterhead for this guy.
imagine being his boss and you're just like, "Hey, Herb, come in here for a minute. Got to talk to you. Have a seat." Before I ask you the
Don't touch
question,
anything.
before I ask you this, just assume I know everything, okay? Somebody pissed on a letter. Do you know anything about that? No, I definitely don't really because you signed it afterwards. And you know what I mean? Like, how do you get caught for that? And then how do you have to like address that? Like, nothing in life prepares you for talking to a grown man about pissing on someone else's mail.
I
That's
have a
what I
logical
wondered.
question.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that he pissed on the letter first and then licked it and sealed the letter since he likes the taste of urine? Or do you think it was already sealed?
That's a
So
good
here's
question.
here's what I think happened. I think that he did not write the letter. It was a letter going from the BMV to the governor. And my question was, did he then take the letter and go into the bathroom and pee on it? And someone was like, "Oh, I saw Herb take the letter into the bathroom and now it's wet." Or was it like, "Oh, I saw Herb go into that office and then when he came out, it smelled like piss in there and this letter to the governor is all wet." I think that feels like,
Or do you think he
it had
just
to be
went
one
in
of
there and
those
like
two, right?
he went into the mailroom and just slapped a soggy letter down on the fucking table? It was all
Send it.
yeah. This needs to
Well
go to
said.
the governor.
Send it. Do it.
Don't
To the
worry
governor.
about what's on it.
Gross. So gross. Well, he got shit canned for it, as you might expect to be. I'm just
No warnings.
Yeah.
so.
Talk to the board
Listen.
of labor about that one.
Despite his paranoid delusional schizophrenia, despite his not being able to hold down a job due to PP, he tied the knot with Julie Sater in November of 1971, and together they would eventually have 3 children. So this is why you refrain from dating, guys. You'll pick up somebody who really just stays alongside you while you just do murder for a while. Okay. It's nice.
My
Whether you
dream
turn a
man
blind eye or
pisses
not, Julie. What was that?
My dream man pisses on everything.
Yeah.
Well, just 6 months after their wedding, Baumeister's father had him admitted to a psychiatric hospital for 2 months, as his wife believed he was in distress and needed assistance. Basically, he was like having a nervous breakdown. And Julie was like, well, what the fuck do I do? Like, I don't know. We've been married for 6 months. I knew him for 6 months before that. So she called his dad, and his dad was like, all right, I'll take him to the fucking psych ward. They took him and were like, yeah, he's fucking crazy. What do you want us to do? And he's like, I don't know. I can't afford to keep him in there. They're like, well, then here. And so he hung out there for 2 months, but that was it. So after being let go from his position at the BMV, Herb embarked on a journey of various odd jobs to provide for him and his wife. Among these jobs was a stint at a thrift shop, which sparked an idea in Herb's mind. Why not open his own?
I mean,
it's brilliant. So,
it sounds like he's got it all figured out.
With a small $4,000 loan from his mother, Herb and Julie took the leap and established their store. Question number 6. What did they name their thrift store? Was it A, Trendy Treasures, B, Savvy Bargains, C, Save a Lot, or D, Just Thrift It?
Can I tell you how
Trendy
disappointed
Treasures.
I am that there's no like Bob's Burgers style name in here? Those who can dole candles.
Can I tell you that they originally were, but as you could tell that there are 4 on there and none of them are? I couldn't well have the other 3 being awesome names. So that was the switch out, and I almost knew you were going to call me on it. Trendy Treasures, Savvy Bargains, Save a Lot, or Just Thrift It. This one is Zelda's.
I want to say B because I can't imagine they're that creative for any other name.
Savvy Bargains.
I also wrote down Savvy Bargains.
Savvy Bargains. Savvy Bargains is a thrift store right down the street from me, and they named theirs Save a Lot. Save a Lot. S-A-V, by the way. Save on the signage and keep the E off there.
Because they save a lot.
So this unique store, that's what they call it. This unique store not only offers household items, but also secondhand clothing, catering to a diverse range of customers. All right, there you go. So it's it's a thrift store. What made Save-A-Lot even more special was its partnership with the Children's Bureau of Indianapolis, where a portion of the sales went towards supporting their cause. Okay, that's nice. I'll give them that. Okay, good for you. The response from the community
makes up for everything else he could ever do.
We'll get there. The response from the community was overwhelming, particularly from the low-income families who were on a tight budget. Save-A-Lot quickly flourished, raking in an impressive profit of $50,000 in its inaugural year. This success propelled Herb and Julie to expand their business and open a second store. Doesn't sound like a particularly lot of money for a store to profit. Well, I will say, okay, yes, it does. 50,000. It doesn't seem like the amount of money that you're like, all right, let's open another one. Like, all right, maybe we just build this profit up for a couple years and see how it goes. But that's just me. I'm not a risk taker, guys.
How much was 50K in, I guess, 1972?
Doing it right now.
Oh, that is true. It's probably like $250,000 now that I think of it. Greg's the man. You should have that shit on your toolbar at the top.
I fucking should. So 50K in 1972 has the same purchasing power as $359,856.46
All right.
in 2024.
All right. I think it's because a lot of this story takes place in the late 80s and early 90s, why that didn't quite make the jump for me. But that's a lot more than my brain was.
That's over $250,000.
My brain was like, probably like $100,000, But yeah, that's insane. Okay.
Also, you can buy a storefront for $5 and a handshake back then, I'm sure.
Exactly. Yeah. Also, fuck
Promise
you, boomers.
So
Save-A-Lot made a shitload of money in the first year. apparently, which propelled Herb and Julie to expand their business to open a second store. It was the triumph of the thrift store venture that ultimately paved the way for the couple to acquire something later we're going to call Fox Hollow Farms. We're going to do a little guest story here. This is the first time we've done one. We've invited most guests to bring something if they'd like. I guess I stopped kind of like doing it because no one was bringing them. So I'm glad someone got the clue. I'm terrified of what's about to take place because
Oh yeah, I just remembered you gave us a little preview and it reignited all my anxiety. Remembering it.
yeah, so Zelda brought a little story. Greg's got one too if we need it. But yeah, Zelda, take it away.
So this actually started November of 2022. I was driving and listening to Serial Killers, obviously, and it was 44 minutes and 10 seconds into the episode. It was the Gacy episode. And I've noticed this with you, Jesse. When you pull out a bit, you pull out names out of nowhere and you always go for the name Tom, which makes me laugh. And you did it because it was you guys were making fun of Gacy for giving himself the nickname The Colonel. And Jesse said, "Oh, Tom, was that you? Did you say my nickname should be The Colonel?" And then it reminded me of back in 2020, me and my dad, whose name is Tom, we're going through a box of pictures. Now, these pictures, they span from my grandmother's childhood in the 40s all throughout my childhood in the late 90s. And we're pulling out pictures, and I find one, and I went, "Hey, Dad, what's this?" He goes, "Oh, that was a guy that was in my first wife's dad's club that they had together. You know, he was just a weird guy, threw these like parties, like these costume parties on the weekends, you know, whatever." And I was like, "Hey, Dad, that's John Wayne Gacy." And he's like, "Yeah."
Was it a bowling club?
No, we're gonna get into that. I was like, I need more information, Tom. Like, this is, you can't be cryptic with me. Like, let's go.
Yeah, Tom, that's why I use these names.
So back in 1975, my father was 19 years old. He's 68 now. And every Friday was Dart League night because when you only have one eye like my dad has, you get really good at darts. And his father-in-law would call him, "Hey, we're going to John's house. Can you swing by with a couple of 6-packs of beer and some cigarettes and drop them off?" And my dad's like, "Yeah, no
Stag
problem."
party.
So when they were having the JC meetings, because his father-in-law was a part of the Chicago JCs that Gacy was, my dad would just come by as a 19-year-old man, dropping off beer and cigarettes. "Oh, Tom, you should become part of the Gacy's." But not a Christian man my father was. And he was already like, "I'm in too many organizations. I can't. No thanks. I'm good." And 1975 was the cruising years for Gacy. It's one of the stories that he's told me. I feel myself fade in and out of existence, like in Back to the Future. And
That's so wild.
He's like, I never wanted to stay. You know, I was only there for like 10 minutes. Oh, he invited me to a couple parties. We hung out there. And I was
Crawl
like,
space stunk.
Did the house smell yet? And he goes, "Well, kinda, but we never thought." I was like, "No, what do you mean?"
It's just a house
Oh my
full of
gosh.
dudes. They're like, that's somebody's body odor.
He's like,
so
hindsight is
wild.
2020, but no.
Damn.
Wow.
This
So,
brings
yeah.
whole new meaning to like the 5 I don't know, the Kevin Bacon
The
thing.
6 degrees of separation.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
Thank you.
That's
Yeah.
insane.
That's wild.
John
my
Wayne
gosh.
Gacy wanted to do the sex to your dad, probably.
100%. But I'm
He's
just
within
like,
that age range.
Yeah, he was
ate-
just, he had that garrote already. Like, come on, just let me show you a magic trick.
Spinning it around his finger and then off again.
Well, that's terrifying and also hilarious. I did not know that I used the name Tom in a bit. I actually love hearing things like that because, like, I love, like, Greg and I grew up playing video games together, and there are some nights where we would get on and, like, if there was a statistics page, he and I would just sit there and like read the statistics because we were so like curious about like I wish more than anything I could like have a life statistics page and just pull that up and see like what name did I pull out as a bit the most. Oh, Tom, what do you know? Like that's a fascinating fact. Thank you. Thank
This
you.
is a
Now
question.
I'm going to use only Tom.
This is a question I've asked a lot of people. I always think it would be cool, like when you die, when you get to the afterlife, whatever afterlife it is that you happen to be when you're in a waiting room or whatever, like Beetlejuice. I always thought it would be cool to get to just get like a really big book or like an iPad or something like that. And it has all of your life statistics for everything you've ever done. Any question you have about yourself, you can just look it up. How many times did I say fuck? Like how many times, like, what was the loudest burp I had? Stuff like that. Like I want to know these numbers. I want to run down the stats, and that would be a good one to see in there.
There was a
sketch in Robot Chicken.
I was just gonna say that. Yes. And he's like, if you took my poop and turned it into 1 pound bricks and turned those bricks into a wall, how long would that wall be? And it's like 1.7 miles. He's like, huh, I would have thought it was longer. God's getting all mad. It's really not what this book is for, but oh, that's great. Oh man, I miss Robot Chicken. Okay. Thank you. Wonderful story. Greg, let's do yours too. Let's do yours too.
In the podcast where you guys were like, oh, well, he's trying to get to Waukegan, Illinois. And I was driving through Waukegan at the time, and I was like, haha, I'm there.
Oh, too close to home. Too close, man.
Too close. How you going to choke a legend?
Gonna have to close the studio. You still want to do yours? You down?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just an article. I was watching. So I use it as a source sometimes. There's this YouTube channel called Y Files, WHY Files, and it's this guy who does like cool conspiracies and stuff. And he talks to a green screen goldfish that hangs out in a jar named Hecklefish, and the fish heckles him. And
I love it already.
Yeah, and he has like he made a Simpsons joke earlier because they were talking about like a European area, like a European country called Flanders, and the Hecklefish goes "Oakley dokley neighbor," and like yeah. So but anyway, they were talking about like mysterious children, and one of the stories that they had was the Green Children of Woolpit. And I was like, that sounds interesting. So I just found an article about it from allthat'sinteresting.com. And I was going to read the article for you if you'd like.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. So on an otherwise normal day around the year 1150, residents of the English village of Woolpit made a startling discovery on the edge of town. 2 small children with green skin. Not only did the children look strange, but they also spoke a strange language and seemed perfectly repulsed by most food. So somebody just saw them like on the outskirts of town, and this guy took them in and like tried to take care of them, thinking that they were sick and all that stuff. But they had like a green tint to their skin, which is crazy because like in the Appalachian Mountains, there's like a
blue
bunch
skin.
A bunch of blue people.
It's pronounced Appalachian.
Yeah, no, I'm bad at that, and I'm gonna butcher a lot more locations.
Suck it, Greg. Now you know how I feel for upstate New York and every name in Europe.
Bro, we're in the year 1200 in Europe. Watch me. Let me cook. So it says, taken in by the villagers, the odd pair eventually lost the green tone in their skin as they learned to speak English. They claimed that they'd come from a distant land called St. Martin, where people rarely encountered sunlight. In the years since, the Green Children of Woolpit have become a baffling historical mystery. If they truly existed, what turned their skin green? And what was the land of St. Martin? And could the explanation be extraterrestrial? So
clearly the English language, right? Isn't that what you said? They stopped being green when they learned English?
Pretty much, yeah. That's what normalized them. End of the article, yeah. Colonization. European was doing it to the Martians, man. This shit's interplanetary. It says the story of the Green Children of Woolpit was recounted by 2 different chroniclers. The 13th century historian William of Newburgh Newburgh, and the 12th century abbot Ralph of Coggeshall. But Newburgh
It's actually New Berger.
no, it's Newburgh.
I'm kidding.
That's
I'm
Newburgh, buddy.
kidding. Okay.
I stuck the landing on that one. As the tale goes, the two children were discovered by villagers around the year 1150. Historic UK reports that they were spotted crawling out of one of the pits meant for catching wolves that gave the village its name. Woolpit is actually pronounced wolf pit. Haha. See, right there. It tells me in the article, and it's still spelled woolpit. So, they get what they get. During harvest, while the reapers were employed in gathering the produce in the fields, two children, a boy and a girl, completely green in their persons and clad in garments of strange color and unknown materials, emerged from these wolf pits. Newburgh recounted in his Historia Rerum, A History of English Affairs from 1220. That's the part in parentheses. They've got it written in Flemish, which I don't speak. So
I appreciate the attempt, and I wasn't laughing at you're not able to read it. It was the start, full stop, move to the English translation.
Start it, call an audible, man. Sometimes broken plays go for touchdowns.
42 red.
Omaha. Not only were the children green and clad in strange clothing, but they also seemed to speak gibberish. Coggeshall reports that they were taken to the home of Sir Richard de Caulnay, who lived nearby, but though de Caulnay offered the green children food, they refused to eat anything. After a few days of this, the green children of Woolpit discovered some green beans growing in de Caulnay's garden and eagerly gobbled them up. Before long, they repeatedly took to eating the other food that the villagers offered them as well, as they began to lose the green tinge of their skin. Though the little boy grew sick and died, the girl seemed to flourish under the villagers' care. Before long, she mastered the English language and told the people of Woolpit a strange story about their homeland. The girl who took the name Agnes Barr, according to ancient origins, eventually told the villagers that she and her brother had come from a place called St. Martin, but she wasn't sure how they ended up in Woolpit. On a certain day, when we were feeding our father's flocks in the fields, we heard a great sound, such as we are now accustomed to hear at St. Edmund's when the bells are chiming. And whilst listening to the sound in admiration, we became on a sudden, as it were, entranced, and found ourselves among you in the fields, where you were reaping. Upon further questioning, she said that her country was Christian and had churches, but otherwise was quite different from England. The sun does not rise upon our countrymen. Our little land is cheered by its beams. We are content with that of twilight, which among you precedes the sunrise or follows the sunset, she explained according to Newburgh. Moreover, a certain luminous country is seen, not far distant from ours, and divided from it by a very considerable river. So basically, she said they don't get sunlight in this country. It's always
But they can see a country that does across a large river.
Yeah, like across the river, they get light on their side of the river. It's just always like dusk,
Goddamn Disney
twilight.
movie.
Yeah. But no one ever found out exactly where the green children of Woolpit came from. As Mental Floss reports, the girl Agnes apparently lived a fairly normal life, although some sources state that she became a rather loose and wanton in her conduct in later years. So I guess, go off, have fun, whatever. Little Rumspringa, I get it. Basically they thought that, this is when I said they thought they came from Flanders, which is where they speak Flemish, that it was like 10 miles away. So they could have just walked that distance and wound up in the fields and brought out. And like people thought they came from like fairy hollows and stuff, which were like dense areas in the woods. And they were like, because they were green, they were like, oh shit, they're fairies. And they're just like little kids speaking Flemish probably, who were hella lost and like vitamin deficient. And then
no, they're fairies, you idiot! Shut up. God's in a mirror or whatever.
They're vitamin deficient, lost Flemish children in a foreign country, and they got taught the language and fed and got their vitamin deficiency sorted out. And one of them died, and the other one went on to be a wild woman. So good for her.
They just wanted to go home and got adopted instead.
Yeah, they were trying to make their way back, and this guy's like, "Hey, we're gonna take you to
you're gonna learn my language.
Yeah, you got to go talk to this church over here. You'll be all right."
Oh,
so yeah, that's pretty much
like
it. I mean,
Bart when he went to France.
Yeah, So there's more to the story, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I just think it's funny. They're like, oh, they
Okay.
spoke gibberish. Really? It wasn't just the language of another country? No, it was gibberish. They spoke absolute gibberish.
Oh my gosh. My kids are like enamored with the fact that like other people speak other languages. And so like they've gotten pretty good at like mimicking some languages. And like, they obviously don't speak the languages, but like I encourage them to like, attempt to speak it. But when we go out in public, I have to remind them they can't like pretend to speak Spanish because like it could offend somebody. And it's a very tough thing to like, they're like, why? And I'm like, all right, it's like, it's that kid thing where like you give them the explanation. They're like, why? You're like, oh, we're just going to go around and around here. Let's just do the fake French accent thing together when we get home. All right.
Yeah. I still think about that video of the Italian comedian who wrote a song that sounds like what English sounds like to
Oh
non.
yeah, 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 yeah. And it was like a huge hit in
Yeah,
Italy.
it wasn't supposed to be a hit, and it was this great song that they thought it sounded like English to non-English speakers. And I like when I
Well,
listened
it
to
doesn't.
it, I'm like, wait, what's he saying? He's just like,
Yeah,
what?
it's close,
It's some of it is real close.
and it doesn't hurt that the song fucking slaps.
Yeah, it's a bop.
All right. Thank you, Greg.
Dog,
That was a good story. Appreciate you.
yeah, for sure. You forgot to do the
Oh,
come
warp
back
it.
or we'll kill you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we didn't really like. I wasn't really thinking it was a break so much as just
Whatever. What?
we haven't done it in so long. And just
I know.
it just feels wrong to just break it out like that. People will be like, "Whoa, what did you just do right there?"
Out of
But you
practice.
just use yours. Use yours. Because we did say it. If you just cut it and put it back there,
Sure.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Well, fuck it, we'll do it live. We're gonna get you guys right back with a question. We're coming right back into it, diving in. We know Herb. Okay, we just know his thrift business is doing well. We talked about the fact that it's going to allow him to buy Fox Hollow Farms, a future home of his. Question number 7. At some point, we're going to jump forward here a little bit. In the 90s, one of Herbert's children found something nefarious in the woods behind their home. What was it? Was it A, a box full of men's wallets? B, human skeletal remains? C, human teeth? Or D, bloody clothing? Is it a box full of men's wallets, human skeletal remains, human teeth, or bloody clothing?
Is it a box of other men's wallets? Or is it just like a box that like maybe was going to a store for them to sell full of wallets for men? And
The way that it is put in here, it would have been a box of other men's wallets.
wallets that have already been purchased and belong to other men. Got it.
Yes, possibly with identifying things inside. So, box full of men's wallets, human skeletal remains, human teeth, or bloody clothing. I believe this is D's.
I'm gonna say bloody clothing.
Bloody clothing. Zelda.
I'm also going bloody clothing.
Bloody clothing indeed. Well, in 1994, Baumeister's son stumbled upon a complete, partially buried human skeleton while playing in the family's wooded backyard. Unfortunately, 0 points for you guys. Fortunately, fucking story time. Baumeister claimed it was one of his father's dissecting skeletons that he had stored in their garage and later had reburied it, and it must have just been, brought up. His father was a doctor. His father did have dissecting skeletons. This wasn't something that was like totally out of the realm of possibility that he may have owned. In the A&E documentary, his wife Julie talks about this particular situation, and in hindsight, you can see that she's like terrified by the fact that she like allowed the wool to be pulled over her eyes, because what her son found was likely the body of a man that his father had murdered and did an improper job disposing of for whatever reason. She talks about how Herb did keep everything, and she didn't know why the skeleton would have been in the forest, But the calmness with which Herb handled the situation made her believe that he was telling the truth. Travel back in time with me, dudes. Whoop, 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 whoop. Greg, if you could find a more appropriate sound for a time machine back, that'd be great.
Pretty
Before
sure,
Herb.
pretty sure, according to Stephen Hawking, that's what time machines sound like.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't know if we're allowed to talk about him anymore.
People will, yeah. Well, what's he gonna do about it? You know?
Yeah. I liked Andrew Santino's thing where he's like, "Let me go to the island. Let
Yeah.
me go. Let me go."
Casey sent me a
all right.
picture of him flying with Lisa Simpson. It said to Simpson,
Yes,
got
yeah.
another one. I said, no, Lisa.
He also sent that to me, and I hated it. Okay, so let's travel back in time. Before Herb had a home where apparently there were bones that his son may have stumbled upon, there was a time in the 80s and 90s when an unidentified serial killer operated. The unidentified American serial killer known as the I-70 Strangler. He gained notoriety for his heinous crimes committed between June of 1980 and October of 1991. This ruthless individual targeted young boys, adult men in Indiana and Ohio, claiming the lives of at least 11 victims. The killer frequented popular gay bars and similar establishments with a concentrated area in Indianapolis where he would meet his victims. Subsequently, the body of these unfortunate individuals were discovered near Interstate 70, often found naked or partially clothed. The killer would dispose of the bodies in rivers, streams, and ditches in rural and countryside areas where most were discovered once they had washed up. Strangulation was the method employed to end the lives of each victim. Although the case remains officially unsolved, law enforcement authorities identified Baumeister as the only and primary suspect in April of 1999. Basically, they were like, we're pretty fucking sure he did it, but we got nothing. These killings have basically all but been attributed to Herbert Baumeister, so they are going to be included. This is something that wasn't included the first time around, and I remember not including it, but this time I am, because I didn't realize how there's a lot here. So let's talk about the victims that belong to the I-70 killer. On June 16th of 1980, the lifeless body of Michael Sean Petrie was found. He was a 15-year-old boy and was found unclothed in the rural area of Hamilton County, Indiana. Despite his age, Petrie was known to engage in prostitution, predominantly frequenting the gay bars in Indy. His disappearance had been reported on June 7th. However, 3 days later, he was spotted in various locations within the city, accompanying an unfamiliar individual in their vehicle. So he gets reported missing on the 7th, but then, multiple times over the next several days, he's seen. So it's like, is he missing though? And a lot of times we talk about on the show that, people are reported missing, but they're adults. And the police are like, okay, well, they can just leave, they don't have to tell you. Like, that's how it works. But this is a child. So it's
a little different.
It's a little different, but also we know about, we've all listened to enough true crime to know that people living on the fringes of society are oftentimes overlooked in these situations. So, hot take, huh?
Yeah.
So his disappearance had been reported June 7th. He was seen with another individual. His autopsy would reveal that his demise resulted from strangulation with no evidence of drugs or alcohol detected in his bloodstream. On July 21st, 1982, the lifeless body of Maurice Allen Taylor, age 22, was discovered in the serene surroundings of Weasel Creek, located in rural Hamilton County, just outside Atlanta. Although the exact cause... It is. Although the exact cause of his demise remained uncertain, authorities believe that he had fallen victim to a strangulation. Taylor, a homeless individual, had been residing in the boiler room of an apartment complex in Indianapolis. Struggling with financial hardships, he resorted to providing intimate services within the gay bar scene. Living in a boiler room does not sound like that's some Freddy Krueger shit, guys.
I didn't know you
That's-
could do that. I thought it was just a thing that they did in like cartoons.
I mean, I don't know that he was like living there officially with a lease or anything.
Oh, that's true.
Can and should
But-
are two different words.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. I just didn't know you could. Like,
Acting
be
like
warm.
Scruffy the janitor.
yeah. Or groundskeeper Willie.
Scruffy don't mind.
See, maybe that's it. Maybe it's because of Matt Groening. I think every janitor lives in a boiler room because of Scruffy and groundskeeper Willie. Like, do not touch
Willie's
Willie.
time.
Good idea.
So, yeah, he's living in a boiler room. He was providing sex acts for money in the gay bar scene and was murdered by the I-70 killer. On October 3rd of 82, a young boy named Delvoyd Lee Baker, who was 14, was discovered partially unclothed near a river in Hamilton County, Indiana. The investigation into his tragic death revealed that witnesses had seen Baker for the last time on the evening of October 2nd in downtown Indianapolis. He was seen boarding a blue van driven by a young white man sporting a thick mustache. Authorities were diligently piecing together the puzzle surrounding Baker's disappearance, and the boys informed the police that he had been riding his bike to the city center on the night that he vanished. At 10:30 p.m., he called home to let them know that he would be late because he wanted to catch a movie. So basically, he calls his parents. I am going to be late. I'm going to go catch a movie. Cool. No big deal. You're with your friends. But then he disappears. As the investigation unfolded, it was revealed that Baker had been frequenting the gay bars in Indianapolis for the past 3 months and engaging in prostitution. On the night of May 28th, 1983, Michael Andrew, or Mick Riley, a vibrant 22-year-old, vanished into thin air after a visit to a renowned gay nightclub in Indianapolis. I'm going to tell you right now, I looked up all of the club names, and then I looked up all of the gay club names in Indianapolis. And I'm just going to say gay clubs have much better names than
Are we finally going to get some Bob's Burgers
specifically
style
gay
names?
clubs? No, not specifically. I wish they were a little more, but they're definitely much better names. So, question number 8: what was the name of this club? Was it the Vogue Theater, Almost Famous, Teeny, Tini, or Zoni's Closet? The Vogue Theater, Almost Famous, Teeny, or Zoni's Closet? And this is Zelda's.
The Vogue Theater.
Zelda says the Vogue Theater.
I'm going to go with Zini's Closet.
Zelda's going to get 250 more points, extending the lead 1250 to 250.
Hey,
Wow.
It's not over yet. There are still what's that?
before you continue, this sounds
Yes.
familiar. Not the whole story. This part in particular. Was there a killer that we dealt with? There was like I want to say maybe sisters who went downtown to go watch a movie and then stayed to catch like a double feature, but were really spotted like going in and out of bars downtown instead of being at the movie theater that they were supposed to. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
Was that Son of Sam maybe?
It
Or-
sounded like Son of Sam until you went like from movies to the bar, because there were
Yeah.
definitely people that went to movies, and there were definitely people that went to a club.
Yeah, there
'Cause I
was.
remember the disco having.
I think these girls, or this girl in particular, went missing, and that's where they were supposed to, according to the parents, they were in town at the movies and had like taken the bus or whatever, and in reality they were spotted downtown like going in and out of different bars or whatever.
I'm gonna tell you, Greg, after 154 episodes,
Ah, man, like standing in the I
it's
want
tough
to
to
say
say.
standing in the street, and the killer pulled up and was like, "Hey, want to get in?" And they were like, "No." And God, I can't remember it.
Why don't
We'll
you
see.
Google it?
Now
How
that
do-
sounds a little more like
Like
old
Son of-
Bumble Butt.
No, I don't think so. Because
Kemper,
I want to say it was New York.
New York. Well, that's more Son of Sam again. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
I'll leave that part in the episode, and I'll let somebody motherfuck me in the comments for not knowing.
Unless you guys know, huh? You guys know?
No.
You guys leaving hanging?
For 10,000 points.
I actually think that it was Son of Sam because that does sound really familiar.
Yeah.
Well,
Or you could be doing what I do a lot and just blend like 5 different stories into one story. And then you're like, that's not how it went at all. All right, very good. Glad I looked that up.
it sounds really familiar,
Do
but
that with my life.
it also reminds me of just like a missing person story, like a small side story where it's like, have you heard about these two sisters? And then they went missing. Because Son of Sam always like went to the lover's lane type situations.
Yeah. It was very like no, never mind. I thought I had something. Because it was like Son of Sam, then it sounded Ed Kemper for a second, then it was like Son of Sam again.
Well, Ed
Now I'm
stayed
too
on the
damn
college
curious.
campuses.
Yeah, but it was just the whole like pulling up and being like, "Hey, want to ride?" You know, like drop the chapstick in the door and
It's like half
move
of
along.
the serial killers in the 1970s. Hey, I'm a
that's true.
photographer. You want photos? Get me back.
Hey, my arm is really just owie, my arm. You want to get in my Beetle? I got some stuff to show you.
I'm a grown man and I need your help. Can you help me?
Owie, it hurts. I can fix him. All right, Greg, you look that up. I'm gonna move here. So, witnesses are gonna recall seeing Mick with a man of an unknown name, and he would eventually leave with this man. Fast forward to February of 1998, when a concerned resident of Indianapolis reached out to the police claiming that the mysterious man accompanying Riley that night was none other than Baumeister. Tragically, Riley's lifeless, unclothed body was discovered in a ditch in Hancock County, southeast of Greenfield, on June 5th. The autopsy revealed that he had been brutally strangled, possibly with a towel as the weapon of choice. Eric Allen Retger was 17-year-old who went missing on May 7th of 1985, and his lifeless body was discovered a few days later near a stream in the rural area of Preble County, Ohio, situated east of Lewisburg. According to his parents, Retger had intended to attend interviews for summer job on the day that he disappeared, but he failed to show up for any of them. Although his friends and relatives refuted claims of his homosexuality, subsequent investigations revealed that Retger had numerous acquaintances who were involved in drug addiction and drug trafficking. Witnesses reported seeing Eric at a bus stop in the early morning of March 7th, but instead of waiting for the bus, he accepted a ride from a passing vehicle. Upon discovery, it was evident that he had a visible burn mark on his left shoulder and had been strangled with a rope. The lifeless sorry, that was the end of that one. Yeah. So he's escalating. Generally there's it started with like bodies that had been strangled and like just set somewhere, and then now it's like there were brutal strangulations, and it's like brutal strangulations and burn marks, and there and basically we've seen him attack nothing but teenage boys. I think there's only been like one adult male in the list of victims we've gone down so far. But the lifeless body of Michael Allen Glynn, who was 29 years old, was discovered in a drainage ditch close to Eaton, Ohio on August 15th, 1986. Remarkably, he was only dressed in his undergarments at the time of his tragic demise. Mike resided independently from his parents, living in a mobile home community situated on the outskirts of Indianapolis, where he worked as a skilled laborer. Unfortunately, the precise date of his disappearance remains unknown. Upon examination, distinct marks indicative of strangulation potentially caused by a rope were observed on his neck. It took 3 years to establish his identity, which was accomplished through a utilization of new, at the time, fingerprinting techniques. So 3 years after his body was found, they were able to identify him. James Boyd Robbins was a 21-year-old man who disappeared on the evening of October 15th, 1987. He had left his mother's home in Indianapolis and was heading towards the southern part of the city. Unfortunately, 2 days later, on October 17th, his lifeless body was discovered in a rural area of Shelby County. The young man had been strangled, evident from the marks on his body. The location of his body was a ditch near Interstate 70 south of Gwinnville. During the investigation into his murder, the police came across two witnesses who provided conflicting vehicle information. The witnesses both claimed to have seen a different vehicle at the scene. Question number 9. Which two vehicles were there according to the two witnesses? This has a potential of 500 points if you can get both vehicles correct. So 250 per vehicle. Which two vehicles did they say? Was it A, Toyota 4Runner, B, a Chevy Blazer, C, a Ford Bronco, or D, a Jeep Wrangler? Two of those are correct. This one is D's to start with. Toyota 4Runner, Chevy Blazer, Ford Bronco, Jeep Wrangler. Select two.
I'm gonna go with the Chevy and the Wrangler.
Okay.
I was thinking the same.
Gonna go with the same?
Damn
Yep.
it.
The very same. That is going to be 250 points because the Chevy Blazer was indeed one of the vehicles seen. And another 250 points because the Jeep Wrangler was the other vehicle seen. So nailed it. 500 points for the both of you. That'll put D up to 750. But it will put Zelda up to 1,750.
Just rub the dirt into the wound, Jesse.
Don't be afraid to stab either.
But plenty of time. Plenty of time.
I didn't want to say Bronco because I was like, this is not an O.J. Simpson situation.
So there are two questions that are coming up that one of you will score on no matter what. So do you have that? There are two that are multiple choice, but you're welcome to stab if you'd like. You are down 1,000 currently. And they, it goes, you've got one you can stab on coming up, and then you've got two that someone's going to score on, and the last one is multiple choice. And the last one is yours to answer first. So, just getting you your comeback set up if you need. If we get to that point, if it gets close enough. Okay, so one witness claimed to have seen a red Jeep Wrangler Renegade near the crime scene, while the other insisted that it was a Chevy Blazer. That must be so frustrating. Can you imagine being that police officer that's doing the report? He's like, the fucking guy over there keeps saying a fucking Jeep Wrangler. What kind of fucking idiot thinks a Chevy Blazer looks anything like a Jeep Wrangler? You fucking schmuck. So
Oh, really? I thought it was a 4Runner.
So the other guy, Bronco over here. So
short bed with a cab on.
She's using specificity. She's probably the correct one. The conflicting testimonies added complexity to the case, making it more challenging for the authorities to piece together the events surrounding James' tragic demise. So I'm just going to say this. If you don't know, shut the fuck up. August of 1989, the lifeless body of Stephen Lynn Elliott, a young man who was 26 years old, was discovered in the tranquil countryside of Preble County, Ohio. Clad only in his underwear, his tragic demise sent shockwaves through his community, and it was evident that he had fallen victim to a heinous act of strangulation, possibly with a rope. The heartbreaking father of Stephen shared with authorities that his son had bravely revealed his true self as a gay man back in '79, and his father was accepting of it. We were talking about being progressive in the show. That's a pretty progressive act for a 1979 father and his son. You can appreciate that. Unfortunately, this revelation would, even though his father was accepting of it, he didn't feel the same around his parents, and he still left his home. He got into a world of prostitution and alcohol addiction, and that would eventually lead to his untimely death. Clay Russell Boatman, a 32-year-old licensed practical nurse, went missing on August 14th of 1990, shortly after leaving his residence in Richmond, Indiana, with the intention of visiting Our Place, a popular gay bar in the local area. Tragically, his lifeless body, displaying evident signs of strangulation, was discovered in a nearby ditch by a group of children in Eaton, Ohio. You just fucking love that.
What do you suppose a practical nurse is? Like,
such a great question.
I have no idea, because I was like, that implies the existence of a theoretical nurse, which I guess would be the nurse implied by
or an impractical nurse, right?
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm theoretically a scientist.
I'm Jesse. I'm an impractical nurse.
Just carry around.
If you need something, let me know. I got liquor. It's impractical, but we're gonna have some fun.
Basically, a nurse of the 1930s.
Yeah. You do cocaine about it. So, yep, I didn't lose my spot. You did. Thanks, Greg. Thomas Ray Clevenger, who was 18 years old, disappeared.
Go back.
Yep. I did. Despite the circumstances surrounding his disappearance and the location of his body, Boatman's family vehemently denied any suggestion that he was homosexual when questioned by authorities. The exact opposite of the family before that. It was like, no, not him. No, he wasn't. No. Thomas Ray Clevenger Jr., age 18, disappeared mysteriously on September 6, 1990, leaving no trace behind. Eventually, his partially unclothed body was discovered in an abandoned railroad track close to Greenville, Ohio. Clevenger had spent his formative years as in an impoverished district of Indianapolis. In the period leading up to his untimely demise, he resorted to engaging in prostitution near establishments catering to the gay community as a means of earning a living. However, it is worth noting that his mother and sister vehemently denied this act as well. On August 6th of 19... I swear we're almost done with these fucking victims, you guys. This is insane, right? Just like, we're not even done. On August 6th, 1991, the lifeless body of Otto Gary Becker, a 42-year-old, was discovered in a drainage ditch adjacent to a gravel road situated in a rural region of Henry County, Indiana. You would think I would write this easier for myself to read, but I'm just like, I'm gonna throw a bunch of alliterations in there. That'll be great. This is how my brain works against itself. As authorities delved into the investigation surrounding his untimely demise, they came across a number of individuals who claimed to have witnessed Becker in the company of another male driving north on, you guessed it, Interstate 70 near Indianapolis. God damn it. Why'd they call him the I-70 killer? We'll never know. These witnesses were subsequently escorted to the police station, where they were presented with a series of photographs depicting various criminals who had been convicted of offenses related to kidnapping and murder within the state. However, none of the individuals depicted in the photographs were positively identified as the alleged abductor. So it is at this point when bodies will stop being discovered along I-70. Thank the good Lord Jesus in the sky. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
This, thank you. This timeline just so happens to coincide with the purchase of an 18-acre property by our good buddy Herb Baumeister that was called, as we mentioned before, Fox Hollow Farm. In the early 1990s, authorities from the Marion County Sheriff's Department and the Indianapolis Police Department initiated investigations into the disappearances of gay men in the Indianapolis area. So at this point, they're like, okay, there's like 30 of them missing. We should probably look into this. And they shared similarities as far as ages, which we saw. It was like basically like 17 to 29 was kind of his thing, with a few outliers.
I was gonna say, except for Otto Gary Becker.
Yeah. A breakthrough came in 1992 when Tony Harris reached out to investigators, claiming that a man had likely killed his friend Roger Goodlett. Question number 10. What name had the man given to Tony and his missing friend Robert? This would be a tough one to stab on. You're welcome to, if you'd like. I wouldn't personally on just making up a name. I think you've got a better chance on the next one that's coming around. So are you feeling like you want to stab at it?
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
So
would
was it?
suggest it.
I know. Was it A, Herb Thomas, B, Brian Smart, C, Jim Thompson, or D, Doug Carnes?
Ooh, I like
Herb
Doug
Thomas,
Carnes.
Brian Smart, Jim Thompson, or Doug Carnes? This is Zelda's to go first on. Herb Thomas, Brian Smart, Jim Thompson, Doug Carnes.
I'm gonna go with Jim Thompson.
Jim Thompson. Oh, you're going with the old Tom theory, huh?
Not only that, but that's my uncle's name.
Dang.
Yo,
I just used Zelda's family tree to insert for the show.
yeah.
You actually
What do you think,
did-
D?
One of the victims actually does have my government last name too. So
Too close.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Herb Thomas.
Herb Thomas. He's like, fuck it. I'm just going to use my first name. They'll never track me down. No points for anybody.
Damn.
Harris had encountered a man named Brian Smart. He's like, I got to think of a name that's clever and smart. I think I'm going to go Brian Smart.
It's like brain smart, but Brian.
Yeah.
Got it wrong.
Oh, that's great.
He's just like, oh man, this plan is so fiendishly clever with all of its intricacies. The name is Brain Smart. They'll never get it.
he sounds like so. It's like Brian from the Family Guy introducing himself to a woman at the bar. I am Brian
Yeah.
Smart.
I went to
read my
Brown
book,
University.
I've been
I
watching.
went to Indiana University for one semester, so
I've been
no
watching
big deal.
so much Family Guy lately.
Yeah,
Yeah, in fact, I almost texted you because I had a question and I couldn't remember if it was from Family Guy or The Simpsons, but I forgot what it was now. so.
I that happens to me sometimes too.
Yeah.
Playing together sometimes. It'll even be American Dad at times. Anyway, so Tony Harris. Tony Harris has a very interesting story. He's in the documentary as well. He does the entire documentary with his back turned to the camera. You know, he doesn't do the like crazy interview voice or anything, but he does have like his back to the camera. He's like in the shade, like in the shadow thing. But he tells a story about going home with Herb Baumeister, and Herb hands him a hose, and Herb's like, "Yo, choke me out," and he's like, all right," and he, you know, makes. Yeah, oh yeah, baby. Not even a drink yet.
With a hose?
Yeah, it was a pool hose. Herb used the pool hose a lot out around his pool.
It's like that fucking big around.
I know you're saying pool hose, but I am imagining a pool noodle.
It's the same size. They're the same size.
unless Greg, it's like think about like the hose that's on the little like water dealy guy that like the skimmer that goes through. That's like a 1-inch hose.
Yeah, but that's pretty stiff too. It doesn't like.
Yeah, I don't know, man. They say pool hose. Maybe it's just a
But he
garden
is.
hose. Who fucked if
You
I
guys know a
but-
lot about hoses.
We're
hose
man.
guy. Yeah. Big hose
I'm a
guy.
dad. I go out and water the lawn to get away from the family for 15 minutes a night. That's my deal, right? Like, this hose is the one I got to use for that situation.
Until I
Just
move.
Standing
This
at
is-
Home Depot going, hell yeah.
This is my sad hose. This is my happy hose.
And
Talk
me,
about
I-
American Dad.
I just love those hoes.
I listen. When I start doing things too much like Hank Hill, that's when I'm like, all right, time to chill, dude. All right. Chill out. It doesn't matter how tall the neighbor's fence is. It's none of your fucking
Why
business.
would anyone do drugs when they can just mow their lawn?
I got a riding mower when I moved to this house and was like, I've done it. I have reached the pinnacle of Hank Hillness. I'm going to get a propane grill and a bunch of propane accessories and just go live out my life and name my next dog Ladybird. So, yes, Greg, a pool hose. Harris claims that when he met Herb, he was also when he met Herb before going home with him, he was reading a missing person poster for one of the men that would later be found on Herb's property. Harris later spotted Herb again, or Brian Smart, in August of 1995 and wrote down his license plate number to give to authorities. Authorities would quickly identify Brian Smart as Herbert Baumeister. So, sorry, let me go back to the pool hose story. Herb asks Tommy to choke him till he goes unconscious. He does it. Herb pops back up. This is also something that like younger men will probably know more than younger women. When you make somebody unconscious, it's usually like 3 seconds and they're back awake. We've all done the like push your friend against the wall thing or whatever. You know, everybody's got a version of it, but that's what happened. And so that was Herb gaining the trust, and then Herb was like, cool, now let me do it to you. And in the documentary, Tommy is like, yo, Herb just kind of like had this way where it didn't matter what he was doing to you, you didn't want him to stop. And so he was like, I just, you know, the hose thing was, I was just in. Once he started, we were in. And he's like, when I regained consciousness, I remember right before I passed out thinking, oh, I'm about to die, and wondering like, whoa, why am I here? And that was like the last time that he hung out with Brian Smart.
This is not my wife. This is not my
Yeah.
house. How did
Actually,
I get here?
you know what? I don't really like this.
Any objections? Yeah, I got one.
See, this is why they needed a safe word. Pineapple.
Yeah.
Pineapple.
Yeah. So, they figure out who he is. The authorities eventually are going to reach out to Brian Smart, or Herb Baumeister, and tell him that he's a suspect in the disappearances of some men around Indianapolis, and they're going to request permission to search his home and his property. However, both Baumeister and his wife Julie refused to grant them access. At first, in the documentary, Julie was in full-on denial about any of the things of which Herb was being charged. So, like, I truly believe that Julie Baumeister had no idea. She seems, I don't mean to be mean, fairly aloof in general. And I think Herb was very, he was a very manipulative person his entire life. And I think that, unfortunately, he played her from the beginning. I don't think I put it in here, but there was another thing about like Herb. They were married for like 25 years, and she's like, Herb and I might have had sex 5 times in that stretch. She's like, so
At
just
least
to give
3,
you guys kind of a,
because they had what 3 kids, right?
yeah, exactly.
How
So-
good was it that she stuck around, though?
Those 5 times.
It was the 70s, and
And
frowned
also-
upon, and in Indy.
Yeah.
Have
You're not
you
gonna get a
ever
divorce.
owned a Save-A-Lot? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She owned a Save-A-Lot with this man.
I
So-
forgot the female orgasm wasn't invented until the 1980s.
There you go. That's the true reason.
That's a myth.
Oh.
That's gonna be my next
Conspiracy.
conspiracy theory. Yeah, that's gonna be my
I was gonna
next
say-
side story.
Hang on, Greg. Your next episode's not for a couple weeks,
Yeah,
buddy.
welcome to this episode of
Uh,
Serial Chillers. Today I'm bringing you the myth of the female orgasm. It's not a thing.
All of a sudden, we just don't have a show anymore.
Our prime location is the G spot.
Also, doesn't exist. Typed it into Google Maps, couldn't find it.
In what year did the female orgasm come about?
Trick question.
1992 was actually the correct answer. 1992.
Trick question. Not yet.
Not yet. Sorry. Okay, so God, we didn't get off track. You got off track. Shut up.
What?
So they're not letting the police on their property, which, look, I'm going to be honest. You shouldn't just let the police on your property regardless.
Yeah,
It's
show 'em
not,
what-
it's
make
not-
them come back with a warrant.
yeah, it's not a good look for you. Like if you're, get a lawyer up. You're not a lawyer. And if you are, probably still lawyer up. Don't represent yourself. That's dumb stuff.
The person who represents themselves has a fool for a client.
Yeah, just remember, famous people who represented themselves. Ted Bundy.
Yeah, but he did all right.
I'm
Didn't
done. Yeah. What did he scream at the judge when he announced the guilty verdict?
Are you not entertained?
Like that guy recently who tackled that judge.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Did you see the follow-up where the judge sentenced him to all the charges that came down because of the crime that he did before? And oh man, they threw the fucking book at that guy. And when he came in, he had like foam mitts on. He had the net over his head.
Yeah,
he had like the
spit
chains at
bag
his
and-
waist. The chains. He was fully.
Wasn't he
decked
on the
out.
dolly too?
No, they didn't Hannibal Lecter him, but they
Ah.
might as well have. How funny would that have been?
He just had to take 50 little steps to go 5 feet.
Oh shit! I've got Hannibal nearby somewhere. Right? Oh yeah, he's right here. Good evening, Clarice. Okay, so Brian Smart, not so brain smart. Okay, so again, like I said, I don't think Julie knew. I think that, you know, the skeletal remains thing, there's an excuse, there's a medical doctor in the family, blah, 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 blah. All right. So at this time, she's fully on board with him. She's like, yeah, you guys aren't fucking checking out this property. But by June of 1996, Julie is becoming increasingly alarmed by her husband's now erratic behavior and decides to file for divorce. Their business is failing. Their marriage had failed. So Julie took the only route she thought would be worth it for her. As a result of the divorce, she finally consented to a search of their property. She's like, fuck it. I'm going to either get it all or, we're going to be at square one. So let's go, baby. She told the police about the time that she had seen bones on her property. Like, hey, you guys might want to fucking hear about this. The police asked her to show them where she had once seen the skeleton. As she took police to the area, she described the bones as looking like, quote, someone had just laid down and died. The search took place while Baumeister was away on vacation, and it yielded bodies. So they're split up, but still Herb's like coming back. He's got business. It's a farm. It's a legit operating farm as well. So he's coming back on the property, but this time he's on vacation. So she's like, police, I think now is the fucking time. You guys need to get the fuck over here and check some shit out. And so they come over. And like I said, the search is going to yield bodies. Question number 11. This is a big chance here. Someone's scoring points. Someone could score 1,000. 250 points to the closest 1,000. If you nail it, how many bodies would be found on Fox Hollow Farm? This one is D's to answer first. 1,000 points if you can nail it.
7.
7. Zelda.
I want to say like 10.
10 for Zelda. In the depths of Fox Hollow Farm, a chilling discovery was made on June 24th, 1996. Investigators stumbled upon the fragments of human bones belonging to at least and a confirmed 11 individuals concealed within the woods. Zelda, I gotta do some math here. It's technically it's not over. Technically.
Stop trying to give me hope. I appreciate it.
You're gonna have to hit some half court shots here. But
I was gonna say you literally need to you need Hail Mary, onside kick, Hail Mary, but it's not impossible.
My dude, I am 4'11". There's no way I'm making a half court shot.
Well, listen. I once saw Henry Rowan Gardner strike out the fiercest hitter in the MLB with an underhand pitch, and his mom in the crowd.
Dude.
So
Sounds like he gets paid to do that.
That's just the description of the movie Rookie of the Year. Check it out. It's got Gary Busey in it.
A human cigarette.
It's got Gary Busey and what's his name from Home Alone
and the Wonder Years.
Macaulay Culkin?
No.
Daniel
Stern.
Yeah, Daniel Stern. David Stern's brother. Okay. So, boom, 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 boom. They found what they believe to be at least and a confirmed 11 individuals concealed within the woods behind Baumeister's home. Basically, what they found was okay, so they're walking along this path. They've got a path in their woods. And Julie's like, yo, this is where my son found that skeleton that Herb cleaned up like the next day. And so they're like, okay, looking around right there, and basically immediately began finding bone fragments. So in this area that they were in, they found over 5,000 bone fragments less than 2 inches
This
large
guy.
that had been burned and broken up.
So you're telling me this guy
So
has 18 acres to choose from and decided to bury the remnants of his victims in the easiest to get to spot.
let me go on, because a little further, actually a little closer. So this is that's the farthest out, is the burned up, chipped up 2-inch pieces, over 5,000 pieces of 2-inch bone, or smaller. Um,
1,000 inches.
yeah, it's a lot of bone. So a little closer to the house is another basically area and or pile of much larger non-burned but broken down skeletons. And even closer to the house is basically, again, some near complete human remains. Like, remember the Ted Bundy quote about losing the tire iron? It's kind of getting lazy. It's happening. He's lit. I mean, like, his kid found the skeleton in early 96, and it was very likely one of the bodies that he just moved a little further down the line, that the police are just going to find a few months later. So at this time, a warrant is issued for Baumeister's arrest, but he managed to evade capture by fleeing to Ontario. This eerie 18-acre property owned by Baumeister lay nestled off 156th Street and the Monon Trail of Westfield, Indiana. Years later, on December 4th, 2022, a renewed search yielded a single bone and unveiled 20 potential locations where more remains could be hidden beneath the Earth's surface. The remaining 3 unidentified bodies, all presumed to be male victims of homicide, still remain nameless. And in a desperate plea for answers, the Hamilton County Coroner's offices reached out to the public. They implore anyone with missing family members from the mid-1980s to the mid-1990s in the Indianapolis area to come forward and undergo a DNA test. This collaborative effort aims to bring closure to finally unveil the identities of these unfortunate victims. But here are the victims that are identified from Fox Hollow Farm. Johnny Bayer was 20 and went missing on May 28th of 1993. Jeffrey Allen Jones was 31 and went missing on July 6th of 1993 in Indianapolis. Richard Douglas Hamilton Jr. was 20 and went missing on July 31st in 1993, also in Indy. Manuel Resendez was 31. He was a homosexual Hispanic male and a children's counselor from Lafayette, Indiana, who was last seen at a gay bar in downtown Indianapolis on August 6th, 1993. Alan Lee Livingston was 27, also went missing on August 6, 1993 in Indianapolis. His remains were recovered on the initial search of the farm in 1996, but remained unidentified until October of 2023. He was one of the bodies that they found closer to the house. That's why they found his remains on the day, because they found his near complete remains. But he didn't get identified until October of, that's correct, 2023. We're talking
so like
3 months ago.
3 months ago, yeah.
Yeah. So the first time we did this episode, there are, I want to say, 4 victims that have since been identified, because that would have been 6 years ago for us. So within the last 6 years, 4 more victims have been identified.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is. Alan Lee Livingston, 27, also went missing on August 6th in 1993. His remains were recovered in the initial search. Yeah, okay. So Steve Sperlin, who was 28, went missing on April 1st. Alan Wayne Broussard was 28. He went missing on June 6, 1994. Roger Allen Goodlet, who is Tony Harris's friend, went missing on July 22nd, 1994. And last seen after he left his mother's residence where he lived to visit a gay bar on the 16th Street in Indianapolis. 2 weeks before his disappearance, Goodlet was sighted in the company of Baumeister in several Indianapolis homosexual establishments. Basically, anything that was deemed a gay bar at the time, Herb Baumeister basically was identifiable in. You can go into any of the gay bars, and he might have had a different alias in some of them. He went by Brian Smart.
Brain Smart.
Yeah. But basically, Herb Baumeister lived the ultimate double life, because like Julie at this time had, like, he was like doing these things while either he was supposed to be sleeping or like running basic errands. Like, I'm going to go to the grocery store, and he would just like swing by the gay bar and live his double life for an hour or two, and then like really quickly run and get groceries, and like, the grocery store is crazy busy tonight. And
We're out of hoses.
yeah. She's like, that's an awful lot of glitter on you. Shut up. So Michael Frederick Cairn was 45. He was last seen March 31st at another bar in downtown Indianapolis. A jacket belonging to Cairn was found at Baumeister's residence, and authorities have publicly and posthumously linked the unsolved disappearance of Jerry Williams Comer, who was 34, to Herb Baumeister. Williams Comer was last seen in Indianapolis on August 8th, 1995. After his disappearance, his vehicle was found in Castleton Square Mall. Question number 12. In what year did Herb Baumeister die? You're it's closest to the answer is 250 points, 1,000 points if you nail it. And what year did Herb Baumeister die? This one is Zelda's to go first now.
2000.
2000.
I'm gonna say 2013.
2013. Zelda's going to get 250 points because in July of the same year, 1996, tragically, and I only say tragically in the sense that he didn't have to face any fucking consequences for his crimes, because it's not sad that he died, but he did end his own life at Pinery Provincial Park on Lake Huron by shooting himself in the head with a .357 Magnum.
I almost said 96, but I was like, don't go with the year you were born in. That's dumb. Damn it.
Makes
You
sense.
could be the reincarnation
Whoa.
of Herbert Baumeister.
Oh gosh.
Whoa, hey.
Were you born post-July? Were you born post-July?
No, February.
Okay. All right.
I don't like hoses.
That's something he would say to throw us off the trail. So, I believe it is officially out of reach, D.
I expected it. It's fine.
but fun, right? We had fun, you know. There is
Yeah.
one more question, and we'll do that for fun. I am going to say Zelda has really only missed on 3 questions. Pretty impressive showing tonight.
Again, I'm keeping notes. I know. You don't have to rub it in, Jesse.
It's more for the people. It's not for. I'm sorry. We won't even say the final score. We'll just say great job tonight, Zelda. So 357 357 Magnum handgun. I listen, I'm not crazy familiar with guns in ways that some people are. I'm not sure how well you guys are. I do know that a 357 is quite a large caliber of a handgun and would leave, I would imagine, little to no top of the head remaining if that were the chosen trajectory. In a 3-page suicide note written on yellow note paper, Baumeister expressed remorse for the damage he had caused to the park and his regrets about his failed marriage and struggling business. However, he made zero mention of the victim's remains or admitted to any crimes. How are you going to write 3 pages of a suicide note and not mention the fucking 11 bodies buried on. What a piece of goddamn shit. Just
Oh yeah, those
ultimate
guys, fuck
fuckface
'em.
right here.
At the
S tier
bottom-
fuckface.
At the bottom of the back of the last page, it says, "Oh yeah," and as far as those bodies are concerned, and then
And there's just a bunch of blood and brain matter.
yeah.
I think on the last page on the back it says, "This paper is yellow because I peed on it."
That's way funnier than what I had. Love it. This was originally white paper.
And that's how you come full circle, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. This has been the Serial Chillers podcast. Remember, don't talk to strangers.
Mail this to a governor. I need him to know.
So yes, 3-page suicide note. I will say the most redeeming thing I've ever heard of Herbert Baumeister was him feeling bad for making a mess at the park. I'm really sorry about this, guys. Someone's got to clean this up. Let's see. Question number 13. What was Herb's final meal? Was it A, fried chicken, B, a hamburger, C, a slice of pizza, or D, a peanut butter sandwich? This one is D's. Fried chicken, hamburger, pizza slice, peanut butter sandwich.
Okay. Let's think.
Oh, we're supposed to be doing that?
Well, I'm like, he's from Indiana. I really.
Well, corn's not enough.
I think you might have cut out if you answered D.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
I'm gonna say burger.
Okay, a burger. A good old Midwestern butter burger.
I was gonna go to Culver's after this.
Dude, I fuck heavy with Culver's. There's a Culver's here, and there was not any in California. It's been like my number one fast food stop is Culver's.
I'm gonna go with pizza.
Pizza slice. Well, his last meal before blowing his stupid dumb brains out with a 357 Magnum was a good old wholesome peanut butter sandwich.
Damn it!
If he hadn't been like a crazy psycho murderer fuckface, Herb Baumeister might have been like a pretty like nice wholesome dude. Like he seemed like an actually pretty good dad.
Guy just likes peanut
like a
butter
decent
sandwiches
husband.
and has a piss fetish. Who doesn't? I mean,
So I mean that's basically the main Herb Baumeister story, but I do like to add this because we added it the first time and I don't have the sound bite for it, but maybe I can send it to Greg and we can add it in post. But in a strange twist, there's this news story, like a local Indianapolis news story. Greg, you might remember this from the first time, but basically Herb and his son are driving and they're following a road painting truck, painting the lines on the road, and they're painting the outside yellow line. And Herb sees ahead a raccoon, like basically directly in the line of where they're going. And he tells his son, like, yo, they're not even going to move that thing. There's a dead raccoon in the road. And sure as shit, the line painter just goes right over the dead raccoon. So Herb jumps out and like takes a picture of it and sends it to the news. And the news calls him out. And so you can go to YouTube right now if you want. Like I said, maybe we can put the sound clip up for in the episode here. But we'll definitely link it if we need. And you can see this interview with Herb Baumeister where it's basically just him being like, yeah, I saw him and I told my son they're going to paint right over it. And they did. And here's a picture. And it was like a whole like small town Indianapolis news story, And basically at that time, it's pretty certain that Herbert Baumeister had murdered at least 6 men in the Indianapolis area and had them buried on his property.
bro, how is this a 5-minute video?
I thought he was gonna like look at his son and be like, hey, you want to pick that up and put it in your teacher's desk?
Come on, I'll piss on it first. So yeah, man, that is the Herbert Baumeister story, guys. Thanks for hanging in for that weird fucking weirdo. That's the end of my freaking report. Congratulations to Zelda on a job well done. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you guys a lot. Zelda, anything you want to say? Take a little victory lap here tonight.
I'd like to thank my cats It's Chucky and Midna.
Sometimes you need a little support, and if that's who provided it to you, then congratulations to you and your cats on your victory tonight. D, anything you want to add here at the end of the show?
I'm devastated. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just glad. I'm glad that I didn't get 0 points. So, okay, yeah, the points I did get, Zelda got those same points, but it's fine, right?
I think, did you get it? Okay, yeah, she did get. Okay, yeah, that's what happened.
I took notes,
Come
Jesse.
on, you got some of your. I was just trying to help. We'll have you guys back another time for sure. It was very fun having you. Greg, anything you'd like to add here at the end of this Herbert Baumeister episode?
Serialchillerspod.com for anything that all of our soft goods and stuff like that, and then lonelyfans with 2z's.com for all of our hard goods, and that's pretty much all I got.
You get it? Because never mind. Well, thank you guys again so much for coming out. I appreciate your time and effort. Greg, again, thanks for doing all you do, putting the damn thing together and making it whole. So if there's nothing else, I would like to say fuck Herbert Baumeister. Not literally, you can't, he's dead. Idiot. And I don't know, don't talk to strangers. Okay, bye. Oh shit, good job guys, that was fun.
That was fun.